want to call it a different kind of video, but I wanted to fully show you some of the responses to the WNBA CBA saga and show you at this point the Players Union absolutely has a PR nightmare on its hands. And why am I saying that? Because the fans are out on supporting the players. They are out. You've got a fraction of fandoms out there that this has become some kind of a social statement or social movement. And it's kind of like the fans they interviewed as the league was blowing up, and they said, yeah, the old fans said, yeah, we miss going to the stadiums and then being able to go hang out with the players at the bar after the game, but we can't do that.
And that news just broke this morning. I'm not sure what this proves, because what if the league made $25 million profit? I mean, are we here to consider that to be good? What if they made $50 million profit? I still don't consider, when you consider what most other sports are making, are we to consider that to have been good? Because they get a revenue share, it's my understanding, after expenses get paid, so it's like a net revenue share, and the players finally got it. The players finally got it again under the current CBA. For the first time in history, the WNBA generated enough income in 2025 to trigger revenue sharing with its players. Union leadership told ESPN on Sunday, I still don't understand how this is a public relations win for the players, because the players have been telling us they're broke. So now we're finding out, and by the way, the players got a big-ass chunk out of their players' union licensing agreement, too, between both figures. It was actually 25 million to split up. So the players haven't been as broke as they've let on.
Backing the owners at this point. Annie Constable put this post up to her article, which I did a video on yesterday. And I wanted to look at some of the responses, because I got to tell you, fans are either on the players' side, or they're fed up with all this, or all the above. I got to tell you, come on. It should be 15% net revenue. I thought that's the highest the owners were offering. The league has never made any money. The players should sign now. They got some housing back. They are looking very greedy. That is the takeaway. That is the takeaway. The players need to understand they are employees of a league that never...
What you are about to hear in this video is something that the WNBA did not want you to know. Ramona Shelburne, one of the most respected and feared journalists in the entire world of basketball, has just dropped the most explosive bombshell in the history of women's basketball. And the moment the story broke, the entire WNBA went into complete and total meltdown. Players are furious. Owners are scrambling. League officials are in emergency meetings right now. And the 2026 WNBA season, a season that millions of fans around the world have been waiting for, is now hanging by the absolute thinnest thread imaginable. This is the Celeb Brief, and this is the story that changes absolutely everything. Before we get into the explosive details of exactly what was exposed, we need to talk about who Ramona Shelburne is and why this story matters so much more, because it is coming from her specifically. Ramona Shelburne is not just any ordinary sports journalist. She is one of the most connected, most respected, and most feared reporters in the entire world of basketball. When Ramona Shelburne breaks a story, every single team owner, every player, and every league official pays immediate and very serious attention. She has spent decades building relationships inside the game that give her access to information that nobody else can get close to. Shelburne has broken some of the biggest stories in NBA and WNBA history. She has sources at every level of the game, from locker rooms to boardrooms. She does not publish stories that are not fully verified and completely accurate. So when Ramona Shelburne says she has uncovered a dirty secret inside the WNBA, the entire basketball world stops and listens immediately. And what she has uncovered this time is something so serious and so significant that it has genuinely shocked even the most experienced people inside the league. To truly understand just how massive this exposure is, we need to go back and look at where the WNBA was before Shelburne dropped this bombshell. The league has been going through one of the most turbulent and difficult periods in its entire history. The CBA negotiations between players and owners had already turned into one of the most bitter and intense battles that women's basketball has ever seen. Players were demanding fair pay. better working conditions, and a genuine share of the enormous revenue growth that the WNBA has experienced since Caitlin Clark arrived and completely transformed the league. On the surface, everything looked like a normal business dispute between players and owners. Both sides were talking publicly about wanting to reach a fair agreement. Both sides were presenting themselves as reasonable and professional to the outside world. But behind closed doors, the reality was something completely different. The tension between players and owners had reached a level that insiders were describing as genuinely dangerous for the future of the entire league. And it was inside this already explosive environment that Ramona Shelburne began digging and uncovering things that the WNBA absolutely did not want the public to know about, and this is the moment that has sent the entire basketball world into complete frenzy. What Ramona Shelburne has exposed goes far beyond a simple disagreement about money between players and owners. What she has uncovered is a pattern of behavior and decision-making at the very highest levels of the WNBA that has left players feeling completely betrayed and disrespected in a way that goes far deeper than just salary disputes. Players in the WNBA have been told publicly that the league is committed to growth, committed to fairness, and committed to building a better future for women's basketball. But what Shelburne has revealed is that behind closed doors, owners have been making decisions that directly contradict everything they have been saying publicly. Secret meetings have been held. Agreements that players thought were in place have been quietly reversed without any notice or consultation. And the financial arrangements that the league has been presenting to players as fair and transparent have turned out to be something very different from what players were led to believe. The players who found out about what had been happening behind their backs were absolutely devastated and furious in equal measure. These are women who have dedicated their entire lives to basketball. Women who have sacrificed everything to play in the WNBA. Women who trusted the league and the owners to deal with them honestly and fairly. And what Ramona Shelburne has shown them and shown the entire world is that that trust was being abused in ways that they never imagined possible. The reaction from WNBA players since Shelburne published her story has been unlike anything the league has ever witnessed before. Players who normally stay very quiet and professional about internal league matters have come out publicly and spoken about their anger and their sense of betrayal in very direct and very powerful terms. The feeling inside WNBA locker rooms right now is one of complete solidarity against what players see as a fundamental breach of trust by the owners and the league. Stars of the game who have enormous platforms and enormous influence have used those platforms to amplify what Shelburne exposed and to demand immediate answers and accountability from the league. The support among players has been completely unanimous and completely passionate. Every single player in the WNBA, regardless of team or personal background, has united behind this cause because they all understand that what was done affects every single one of them directly. And the message they are sending to the owners and the league right now is absolutely crystal clear. This is not something they are going to accept, forgive, or forget quietly. The response from WNBA owners to what Ramona Shelburne exposed has been fascinating and deeply revealing in its own right. Some owners have tried to dismiss the story publicly as inaccurate or exaggerated. Others have gone completely silent and refused to make any comment whatsoever. And a small number have actually tried to attack Shelburne personally and question her sources and her motives, which is a strategy that almost never works when the journalist in question is as thoroughly respected and as carefully sourced as Ramona Shelburne consistently is. Behind the scenes, the situation among owners is reported to be even more chaotic than what is visible publicly. Emergency calls have been made. Crisis management teams have been brought in. Legal advisors are working around the clock trying to understand what the exposure of this dirty secret means for the legal and financial position of the league and the individual ownership groups. The owners who thought they were operating in secrecy have suddenly found themselves exposed to a level of public scrutiny and accountability that they were absolutely not prepared for. The timing of this explosive exposure could not possibly be worse from the perspective of the WNBA as an organization. The 2026 season is supposed to be the biggest and most exciting in the history of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark is entering her second year as the most talked about athlete in the sport. Indiana fever have been building around her and creating enormous excitement among fans worldwide. Television networks have invested heavily in broadcasting rights. Sponsors have committed major money to the league. And now all of that is suddenly at serious risk because of what Ramona Shelburne has uncovered. Players are now openly discussing the possibility of collective action if the league and the owners do not respond to what has been exposed in a serious and meaningful way. The word strike, which nobody wanted to say out loud just a few weeks ago, is now being mentioned in conversations among players that would have been unimaginable at the start of this year. If the situation is not resolved quickly and satisfactorily, the 2026 WNBA season could be delayed, shortened, or in the most extreme scenario, canceled entirely. And that would be an absolute catastrophe for the sport at the exact moment it was reaching heights of popularity and visibility never seen before in its history. It is impossible to talk about this story without talking about Caitlin Clark and what this situation means for the face of the entire WNBA. Clark has been the driving force behind the extraordinary growth of the league over the past year. Her presence has brought millions of new fans to women's basketball. Her arrival has generated billions of dollars in new revenue for the league. And the dirty secret that Shelburne has now exposed raises very serious and very uncomfortable questions about whether the players who created all of that value, including Clark herself, have been treated fairly in return. Clark has been very careful and very professional in how she speaks publicly about the CBA dispute. But people who know her well say that she is absolutely paying very close attention to everything that is happening and that she cares deeply about fairness for every single player in the league, not just herself. What Shelburne has exposed is not just a business story. It is a story about whether the women who have given everything to build the WNBA into what it is today have been respected and valued in the way they deserve. And that is a question that Caitlin Clark and every single one of her fellow players deserve a clear and honest answer to. So where does the WNBA go from here after this explosive exposure by Ramona Shelburne? The honest answer is that right now nobody knows for certain. What is absolutely clear is that the path the league was on before this story broke is no longer available to anyone involved. The dirty secret is out. The players know the full truth. The public knows the full truth. And the owners and the league now have to decide how they are going to respond to that truth in a way that gives the sport any chance of moving forward positively. The most optimistic scenario is that the shock and the shame of this public exposure forces the owners to come to the negotiating table with a completely new attitude and a genuine commitment to reaching a fair agreement with the players as quickly as possible. The most pessimistic scenario is that the distrust and the anger on both sides is now so deep that reaching any agreement before the 2026 season is scheduled to begin becomes almost impossible. Either way, the WNBA is at a crossroads right now that will define the future of women's basketball for the next decade and beyond. Ramona Shelburne did what great journalists are supposed to do. She found the truth, she verified the truth, and she told the truth to the public regardless of the consequences. And the truth she has told has changed the WNBA forever. What happens next is now in the hands of the players, the owners, and the league officials who have to decide what kind of organization they want the WNBA to be going forward. The players have shown incredible unity and incredible courage in speaking out. The fans are watching and waiting for answers. And the 2026 season, the season that was supposed to be the greatest in the history of women's basketball, is now depending on those answers coming quickly and coming honestly. This is the Celeb Brief. If you found this video valuable, please hit the like button right now and make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you never miss our daily coverage of the biggest stories in sport and celebrity. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the WNBA owners will do the right thing after what Ramona Shelburne exposed? I genuinely want to hear everything you think. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the very next one.